But if we could get it out of there, if we could get the information that is inside the book being processed automatically by machines and whatnot, we can use it to make all kinds of analysis about a book, about a story, about the content. And if we interlink the information that is inside the book, we can do even a lot more than just that. So first and for all, let's see about what advantages does a digitized version have compared to a printed version, but information-wise. So I'm going to use the example of Les Misérables here, which is like the printed version, and then we have the Gutenberg version of it. So basically we have two big advantages at the moment to get quickly to information inside a book. Usually when you open a book, this is what you get first, the table of contents, which has all these links and all these things in here. So you can have these links to very quickly navigate between the different portions of the book. So you can, opposed to like a printed version where you have to leaf through all the chapters to get to the right one, here you can just click on it and within a second you get to the place where you want to be. So that's advantage number one. Advantage number two, and that is something, we're in books and browsers, so we can use the browser to get extra information. For example, this is just doing a search on your book. So now I search for Jean Valjean, which is like a main character of Les Misérables, and you get a lot of information out of this. You can get where Jean Valjean is mentioned a lot in the book and where it's mentioned less. So this is just using the browser, the search functionality of the browser, to see, okay, yeah, so Jean Valjean is mentioned a lot in the beginning, a lot in the end, a little less in the middle. And this is valuable information, but the problem is you have to know that Jean Valjean is a main character of the book before you can look for him. So you basically first have to read the book before you know what you want to know about the book. The same with the links. If you know, okay, I want to see chapter 10 because that's an interesting chapter, you first have to have read the chapter before you know it's an interesting chapter. So information-wise, you don't have that many advantages compared to a printed version. All the information is in there. You get the information you want, but you have to know what to look for. And that's kind of a problem. We can do a lot more with digital versions because there is a lot more in a book than what just meets the eye, than what you just read about it. So this is again some part of Les Misérables. This is what the normal, when you read a book, this is what you get. But there's more in that. There's more in that if you use stuff like entity recognition. There are a lot of APIs out there. You've got DBpedia Spotlight, you've got OpenCalais, Alchemy API, you've got all these kinds of services which turns normal text into specified entities to say, okay, if I talk about Paris, I am talking about the main capital of France and not the daughter of the big hotel company. So basically, if you use all these APIs, you get all this extra information out of there in your digital book. There are techniques already to do that. If you have your HTML or your EPUB version, you can add RDFA tags, which is just like some HTML codes. You add them to your book, and you get all extra information about it, and very specific, unambiguous information. Information that computers can use, not just the reader, but also computers. So we can start from a book with text. We can use all technologies that already exist, and we go to a book with information. And not just information, but interlinkable information. So, yeah, this is like the LOD cloud, the linked open data cloud. This is about all the information that you have on the web, unambiguously defined by stuff like DBpedia. You've got all these services out there that put information in an unambiguous way, that machines actually know what they're talking about. That not just the readers know it, but machines as well. So if we want to have that information out of a book, we need a kind of an API for that. So we have all this information that can be put in a book. All these RDFA tags can put entities inside a book. And now we need some kind of API to get the information out of the book. So what kind of API I'm talking about? I'm talking about querying. about using the information in a book, using the book as a database, that you can just query the data from a book and get all this information out of there without having to read the book. This is where semantic technologies come in. We can sparkle books. Sparkle is a language like you have SQL. It's like a database language, but you can do a lot more because it's unambiguous data. So this is like more technical. I don't want to go into the details, but basically what you can do is just you have some kind of book, Les Misérables, and you get all the different characters out of that book. So you don't have to read the book to know what are the main characters. You just get all the characters, you can sort them by occurrences or whatever, and then you know which are the main characters of your book. So here you can return all characters of Les Misérables by using this kind of query. And using those RDFA tags inside the book, that is how you can actually do that. You cannot do it at the moment because at the moment most books are just about text. And if you see Jean Valjean, that's just a piece of text. If you put in the RDFA tags, you can actually do stuff like this. You can actually get the information out of it without reading it, actually all pages. So this is what I want to do, and how can we do that? We can actually make that API on top of the publication formats that are out there at the moment. So you've got HTML5, you've got EPUB. At the moment, if you want to download an EPUB, you just get the book. That's all you get. You get the file out of there, and that's great. But we can go one step further. We can still get the book, but have some kind of like content negotiation. Like if you have an HTML page right now, for a user you want the HTML page, but the same website for a machine could be more technical file, like a JSON file, something more technical that they can actually work with. We can do the same for like EPUBs. Instead of just downloading the EPUB, we can ask a question to that EPUB. We can do some kind of Sparkle query on top of that EPUB and get, for example, all the characters that are in the digital version of Les Misérables. And we get that for free. So that's the main thing. If we have some kind of an endpoint, if we can use the book as a database, we can get all the information that is inside the book, and we can do all this cool stuff with it. We can do queries like, okay, where's character A at time B? That's pretty standard query. And then we get all this stuff that is actually already happening at the moment. Like, for example, this is not something I made or something. This is like a Neoformix. This is visualization of each character. When do they appear at the book? How are they mentioned? Are they mentioned a lot or not a lot? This is something that up until now used to be done manually. Like a lot of effort was done in here to get like, okay, this person was there, then next page, this person was here. If you use like some kind of query, just, okay, give me all people at any time in the book, you get this for free. You just, it's like one or two queries. The same, and this is more like an XKCD, it's the same thing. You have to do manual stuff, you have to draw the lines, but once you get the data out there, it's just a matter of visualization. At this moment, getting the data out there is the manual stuff, which takes a lot of time. That is something that we can do automatically once we have all the RDFA tags, all the unambiguous named entity recognition inside your EPUB. And we can go one step further. So we can interlink the information inside books, like where's character A at time B. We can also do stuff like, okay, give me all books that are about Paris, and not Paris Hilton, but Paris, France. So we have all these books, we have all these entity recognition, we have all these entities in there, and we can just get the books out of there. But this is where the semantic web gets really interesting. It doesn't have to stop here. You can also do stuff like, okay, what books are about France? Because somewhere in that big linked open data cloud, somewhere in that unambiguous entities on the web, there is somewhere, okay, Paris is the main capital of France. Marseille is a very big city in France. France doesn't have to be mentioned anywhere in the book, but you can use the data on the web that is existing right now to get all the books from France, and you get all the books from Paris, from Marseille, from Lyon, any city in the world that is inside France, and somewhere on the web, it is actually mentioned, okay, this is a city that is in France. So that's like grade 2, you can interlink books within the book itself, you can interlink books with each other, and then you can do content-based content-based recommendations. At the moment, recommendations are usually like, okay, your friend also read this, or this is a very popular book, you should read it as well. But usually if you read a book, you don't want to read a book just because my friend read it. I want to read a book because I liked this book with this kind of storyline. I want to read similar books with similar storylines. You've got this at the moment already for videos, for music. You can also do that for books, and you get it basically for free if you have that entities inside the book. So this is Genie, this is like a movie recommendation, TV recommendation. You can do exactly the same for books, but have like a really content-based recommendation system. And then we have the third step. You can really interlink the information that is inside books with information that is happening, that is out there on the web. So this is like a very easy, stupid example, like, okay, I have Paris, I can put in the Wikipedia information of Paris. But you can do so much more with it. You can say, okay, generate me a bicycle route of all the places that were mentioned inside this book. Give me, you can do all kinds of stuff like this. This is also something that has been there before. You've got like small demons, which were about creating a story verse. This is about, okay, this book mentions Albert Einstein somewhere. This other book also mentions Albert Einstein, so they're interlinked with each other. Small demons didn't fall through, didn't break through because they really relied on manual annotations. There was a lot of effort in there to create the index, but that's just kind of the point. You don't need to create that index manually because the information is inside the book. You can use that information if you have some kind of an endpoint where you can get that information out of there. So you kind of get small demons for free if you got that endpoint. This is a similar example, but this is really an example that they really blew up all the information that was inside the book. It's called Dracula Dissected, so you get all the routes that all the main characters made. You've got the background stories of all characters. This was all pretty manual effort. It could be done automatically. You could get that analysis there for free. So basically what I really want you to take away out of this presentation, that if we can enable queries for the semantic information that is inside the book, we can interlink that information inside books, we can interlink it between books, interlink it between the books and the web that is out there, and we get all this extra visualizations, extra analysis for free, and we can do so much with that. And that's basically what we're working on for now at Uitgeverij van de Toekomst, which is Dutch for Publisher of the Future. It's a project that we're doing together with Flemish publishers to, among others, get the metadata that is inside books, to get it out of there, get some real nice visualizations. We are doing some active research on this. And I really like to thank you for your time, and I hope that it was good for you to hear.